Hello everyone, Tim Karagosian here in my kitchen, cooking up something good. I've recently come up with a 30-60-90 experiment where basically you take something you want to do, you tackle it for 30 days, and you see what you have at the end of each 30-day intervals. The first one is to see if, hey, is this feasible and is there any juice to squeeze? Is there anything to this that you can build upon? The second 30 days is more about finding out the feedback and crafting that into something a bit more presentable. The third set of days is for figuring out whether there's growth potential there beyond the 30-60-90 day experiment. Now, this first 30 days had a whole slew of goals for myself, testing out the knowledge I've been gaining over the past year in Android, Kotlin, Jetpack Compose development. I got kind of down this path because I got out of it for so many years. I switched my career a bit and I kind of missed it. I like building things. I like making things. In addition, it's always been a life goal to make a video game. I've enjoyed and loved video games for years. I've been entertained by all kinds of creators, writers, artists, and I kind of wanted to take my try at it. But what can I really do to get something like that just me? What can I do within 30 days? Well, that's all about scalability, and you have to scale everything back to make it feasible. And the feasibility of this one was making the gameplay pretty simple, which it's a choose-your-own-adventure style. And choose-your-own-adventure style games are still somewhat popular. I played a few I've loved. Yeah, Yogg. Yeah, Super Amazing Wagon Adventure. And growing up, I loved all those books. I couldn't get enough choose-your-own-adventure books. I was always renting them from the library. Okay, so I kind of know how the gameplay is going to work, but what's the game? I wanted to pick something that was cool for me and that I wanted to see happen. So I picked space. Yeah, outer space. Love it. Super cool. So then I need a rocket and I need a story. So I came up with a basic sci-fi story. Earth is in trouble and we need resources. We can't harvest resources anymore and we've got like 50 years. So we've got to take to the stars, harvest resources there to ensure the continued progress of mankind and for profits, for money. So then you start thinking about all the things you need. Well, you need a ship. Well, you need planets to go to. You need resources. You need a crew. You need to launch from Earth. You need to travel through space. You need to do all this stuff. And it starts getting actually overwhelming and you've got to organize it and make a task list. And the first thing I picked was building out the game engine. Figuring out how the game is going to function and work is pretty much the biggest thing. And if you can't find that to be feasible, then your whole thing is dead in the water. So I made a few drawings on pen and paper, my favorite thing. Those got put up into Google Drive. I put down all of my brain dump of my vision of everything I could possibly ever want. And then I had to scale everything back and kind of figure it out from there. Okay, for some quick little understanding, this application is made in Android Studio using Kotlin on something really cool called Kotlin Multi-Platform Mobile. KMM is how it's referred to right now. So basically you write this once as a Jetpack Compose Android-ish application. Then it builds out into both Android and iOS applications. There is the capabilities to do desktop and web as well, but I really don't have any interest. I'm just targeting Android and iOS. I've tested it out, looks exactly the same on both. There's even audio that plays for both as well. I'll give you a little bit of that. There we go. And while it is mostly Kotlin Android, you can see that there is some Swift UI in here as well. For the actual game, it starts and kind of goes how you would expect a game to go. Right now it wants first name, last name, and a company. I have these random buttons to help with speed or if you're uninspired. It simulates a facial scan for some immersion, and then we get on with the actual game, where we've got a status screen where it shows you things you would want to know and information on the game itself. This is some text describing what's going on in the event that we're at. And then down here, we have buttons that allow you to make decisions. And on story ones like this one, all you can do is hit next. And right now I've got a lot of placeholders for things I'm going to build out later, but they give you a little bit of information about the story and the device you're using. And like the story I told you about earlier, Earth has very limited time. And from a blueprint, you get to build out a rocket. And this rocket can be of exceptional quality, satisfactory, or inexpensive, and the statuses will change in accordance. So a satisfactory build will give us normal ship hull, engines, and sensors. And an exceptional build quality ship will give you good hull engines and sensors. Now the game doesn't continue from here. I've just kind of simulated clearing everything out for an end game or game over scenario. The adventure will continue. You will find a crew, then you will launch from Earth, then you will have random space events. So that's what we've got so far in the first 30 days. There is a lot there, even though it may not seem like it. There are a ton of game objects where I'm keeping track of data in the background to be used later. This first 30 days was a lot of setup and a lot of testing for feasibility in the game engine itself. The game engine's where I spent most of my time, and I still tune it basically daily when I work on it. Because there's something, I just need this to work a little differently. I need to extend it out. In addition to building out the events that will create the entire story and simulation of going to planets, harvesting resources, and coming back, I'm going to be adding in a database for capturing certain things, such as I want to tell the story of the adventure back to the user at the very end, including an interesting generated ending. And then I need an API to update that database if there are any changes I want to include, as well as send some user data to me to help me in the future craft better adventures or even better apps. The first 2 weeks was a lot of setup work and learning to use my tools really well. The last 2.5 weeks have been being hyper productive, spinning up things that I never could have done even before. I consider tools anything that's going to help you make something better. You shouldn't call people tools, but people are tools in your arsenal. Like, for example, some non-technical and technical people were helpful. The non-technical helped me when I was wanting to know what they were feeling when seeing something, if they thought this was cool or not. The technical people helped me with code review and, hey, I don't know how to do this. How can I do that? You guys have been awesome tools, but you're way, way better and more valuable than that. Some other tools that were real helpful is ChatGPT. Helped me with a lot of information, finding sources, and knowing where to go for space information. Draw.io was really valuable for flowcharts and figuring out how I wanted my events to kind of go, okay, we start here, we do this, then this happens. And even one level deeper, how the gameplay will flow and when I want to make certain things happen. I got forced into using a board for organization. So I use Trello because it's free, it's simple, it's fast, and it's great if you have like under 5 developers or people on the team. My pen and paper and Google Drives and lists brain dump was just not working for me anymore. It became too expansive. I needed to reprioritize too much, and I needed to go to a top of a list and know that that is the thing I should be working on. So while Trello is really a great tool, you have to invest a little bit of time into it to make sure everything is right, that you've got your descriptions, your labels tagged right, and like I mentioned before, it's in your right priority order, or at least close to it, so that you can go, oh wait, that's actually the priority, and you find and you pull that into your next in progress. The initial Choose Your Own Adventure engine came from someone else's video who had a text-based adventure. Now their text-based adventure was not in Jetpack Compose, so rewriting it in Kotlin and even Jetpack Compose got me over a big hurdle of fear, kind of knowing the flow of how it's supposed to go. And it gave me a mini project to start with to then build everything out from there. Now that project did not have multiple screens, kind of like I did. It did not have Kotlin multi-mobile, but that gave me a core kind of thinking and a core module to then build everything else off of. And you kind of got to see the result there, that it's taking form into a fully featured game. In addition to finding that video tutorial of the text-based adventure, YouTube also provides free music. I put in a couple of those songs in there. I don't know if they're going to stay, but it's nice to have game music. Kind of expected, you know? The images are from the Microsoft image generator. I've been using that to create them. I don't know if they're going to stay to the very end, but I've been getting good feedback on them, so it at least will be an adaptation of the ones that are in there. Philip Lackner has a channel on YouTube, and he is an amazing resource. Special thanks going out to the Reddit community for helping me find him, as well as Google training and documentation, as well as JetBrains documentation. And finally, the last tool is an industry standard, Git and GitHub. Thank you very much for helping me keep my code backed up and sorted in a way that I can understand and reset every time I need to. Well, like I mentioned before, we've got more events, database and an API to set up for future work, as well as getting feedback from people and knowing like, hey, what would you like to see? What does this make you think? What does this get you excited about? And then going and delivering that for them. So stay tuned for more updates on this. Send me any questions you have, timkaragosian@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer and help you out. I do not have this public on GitHub yet, but I might be doing that soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again on other videos on my channel.